You're listening to Rodney Rogers Outdoors Radio, where we turn it upside down and look at the outside from the inside out. It's safe, it's legal, and we're having a blast. So put your shoes on, my friend, because we're going outdoors.
Welcome to Rodney Rogers Outdoors. I am Rodney Rogers. That right there is the brilliant partner, Coach He's in Crime.
Did you know?
Uh-oh.
Did you know there are more tigers in captivity in the state of Texas than are wild anywhere else?
Are you kidding me?
I don't even know if that's true.
But it sounds legit.
But I read it.
Really?
I read it.
On the internet?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you got to believe the internet,
yeah.
though.
And you know, the oddest thing about that fact is I didn't even care enough to research it. I was like, wow.
Wow. Yeah. It's totally plausible.
Wow, no kidding.
Michael the Man called himself. How are you, brother?
I'm good. I'm doing great.
For those of you that just tuned in for the first time or the 7th time or the 10th time, this is Mike and I's 1 hour vacation. You can reach us in a ton of different ways. You can call us directly and yell at us. We've had that happen. Right there at 262-345-7763. You can text that number. That will actually come to Mike and I. You can hashtag us at hashtag RROR on Twitter. That will come to Mike. That will actually come to Mike. I won't see that one.
It's working, Rodney. It's working.
And you can even ask us questions directly right here on Facebook, and I can read that, and Mike can read that, and we'll get your questions right on there. And welcome to our 1 hour vacation.
Yeah, we're how you say connected.
You have us connected, man. You got us all over the place.
We are connected.
I feel like that we're, Mike, did you do it? You bought, are these legit solar glass? These are homemade, ain't they?
These, why do you say homemade?
Because it looks like you built them in the 5th grade. When it's 1979, when the last one was here, that's when you built those, wasn't it?
No. Okay, I understand. Fair comment. These are legit.
Okay.
I bought them from a homeless guy in Atlanta.
Okay.
And he promised me they were legit.
Is he the same guy that talked about the tigers that gave you the reading materials?
Different source, I do believe. But
okay.
All I know is I can still see.
Okay, so they work.
I felt a little strange for a couple hours, but I think it was just...
What you grab spots like this right here.
I think it was just what was going on.
So did you really get them from a home? Oh, right on, man.
Well, that's not what I told my wife.
Okay, I got you.
She got a pair too.
Are you telling me hers was a little bit lighter than yours?
No, it was the same thing.
Okay.
They're good.
Right on.
Yeah, that's all I can say. Actually, yeah, I don't know.
But there's pink stripes and glitter. It looks like something Billy Idol would wear in a concert. You know what I'm saying?
These are not going in the trash. They're going in the archive somewhere.
That is awesome.
$8. I paid $8 for a pair.
Okay.
Some people were selling $20 a pair, and they're dark.
Yeah, they are dark.
They're at about a 14 on a welder scale.
Okay.
And I think 12 was where you needed to be minimum.
Okay, that's legit, man.
So yeah, it was fine.
Okay.
So, did you watch it?
I did actually. We had enough people at work. I figured that the Eclipse cost Universal Studios probably about $700,000 with all the people standing out front.
Yeah, it was one of the few days I felt comfortable just standing around when my boss was in the vicinity.
So we got a comment real quick. Willie White. All the oil monies, big game ranchers and hill country from Austin down past San Antonio. Beautiful part of Texas. Place where you can drive tanks and go exotic hunting in the same day. Oh, right on, man. Who don't want to drive a tank? Actually, I'd like to hunt something with the tank. That would be pretty cool. Shane, Daryl, how are you, everybody? Roger, how you doing, my man? I'm just giving some people some shout-outs. Heather, how are you, sweetie? Heather always loves hanging out with us. She actually won a fishing trip by watching our show, and she caught a sailfish, which we harvested. First time we ever harvested one. And man, it was delicious. Might I add?
That's on the website. You can go to website.
That is on the website. You can see Heather's fish right there on the website. So we're so glad you're hanging out with us tonight. We got a lot to talk about. Gator season is in full swing. We got to go the first week. And the first night we got out, which is a Tuesday, and man, I was blustered, man. I was hooking big gators and just letting them go like it was nothing. I mean, the first one, I brand new gator pole, 8,000 pin reel, 65-pound line. I mean, you don't need 300-pound line. 100-pound is about minimum you want to go, but this one had 65-pound on it. And the first gator was probably just right at 8 feet, and we broke the line on, or we broke the pole, the brand new pole. First thing I ever hooked on this pole, and it snapped the pole right away. So we had to use. Luckily, Randy had a couple big poles, and man, he saved the day. And you know what? You always zig when you should have zagged. You're always prepared for when you're not prepared. It's just the weirdest thing. I bought weightless hooks because normally there's so much hydrilla that I get out there and I throw, I'm throwing these heavy weights and they're sinking in the hydrilla and I can't get the gators. But Lake Cypress, this is the first time we hunted Lake Cypress. So as I threw, we didn't have any hydrilla, so I needed weighted hooks, and I didn't take any. Yeah. So I had to weight them, and man, it was just a bad night. So we hooked 3 alligators, 3 good-sized alligators, all of which I released almost immediately. So I blame that practice night on me 100%. So, that's how we do.
You had a good time?
We did. Excited? We always have a good time. It was, it's always a beautiful sunset. It's just... We tried to go live that night, actually. We tried to... Yeah,
I apologize for everybody. I don't know the combination of things, but...
Signal, probably from where I was at.
We just bailed, and I said, get live on Facebook, let people...
And it went well.
It did go well.
Yeah, it went... I mean, I got... Yeah. It went straight there. It was perfect. Perfect noise, perfect...
Noise.
Perfect noise.
You know what?
Perfect sound is what I'm trying.
Well, it was great for me because I got to just sit back and relax and enjoy it as
right
well. On. But one thing I've noticed, and I've noticed this before, I notice this every time that I'm outdoors with you.
Okay.
We went up Crystal River and we did,
our
up
thing
in the Swanee.
Yeah.
That you, every time, are like a little kid when you get out there.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's fresh and new. And the excitement is genuine,
absolutely,
and just can't be contained with whatever's going on. And I thought that's number one. One of the things I love about you.
Right.
Number two, it's something that's one of the things that's incredibly contagious. That kind of people want that in their lives, and the outdoors. If it's your thing.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's the same. It's incredibly contagious. And that is one of the reasons I'm thrilled to be doing this, what we're doing, and going out with you on the weekends, and anything I can do with you outdoors is because I love that genuine, raw enthusiasm.
Right.
That comes from you, and I hope that is the same like-minded people that follow you, that watch this show. Because if that's not we're not the hoity-toity. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you can't learn something new, but tune in if you just love the outdoors and if you're like-minded.
Well, thank you, man. I'll tell you, and it's the same way if I'm offshore fishing. I just can't sleep the night before. I mean, I'm just, we harvested. We ended up harvesting a couple of alligators, so we were up that whole night. And man, I tell you what, I got done cleaning alligators at about 7 in the morning. I had to go test drive an offshore boat at 9 in the morning, and I had to go to a family reunion and be there by noon. So, I didn't get any sleep, and I was just as wide awake. I mean, it was just so exciting, and it was just like you said, like I'm a kid again. Now, I am almost 50, and it did eventually take its toll on me. Because when I went down like a champ,
Yeah.
When I went down Saturday night, it was, it had caught up with me.
Sure.
But like you said,
that excitement of just being out there.
Oh my gosh!
It's like every time you can go. How many bass have you caught, Rodney? Obviously, you don't know the number.
Right.
It's thousands and thousands.
Absolutely.
Of bass.
Yeah, definitely.
But every
thousands.
time you catch one, it's like that first time
right.
all over again.
Exactly. I mean, I stopped on the way here just to kind of pop in a quick pond real quick just to see.
I thought so.
Because I hadn't caught one. Did you see that? Okay.
I thought you did. I'm like, he just disappeared off the radar.
I was like, you were probably like, that's a weird spot for the truck to be. So.
Like, why is he stopped on the on-ramp?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so it was this pond I've been wanting to try. That's but with the heat out there, it's just I knew I wasn't going to be super successful. It's right now 95-degree water temps.
It's
it's
hot right now.
oh man, it's a hit or miss. I'm getting a ton of questions on water temps, and
Well, I guess, but tonight we're going to talk gators a little bit, right?
Yes, we are.
I mean, let's recap your weekend and dig
So-
into it. I've round up some questions
Awesome.
based on gators and a few
Okay.
of the top stories, and just a solid show. But there's some things I want to
Well,
chat about. Yeah, what you got?
we'll get into Friday. The Friday night. How's that? We had weather where we harvested gators. You wanna get right into?
I do, but you know what? I'm afraid there might be some people who aren't up to your speed as far as some of the terminology and the phrases.
Okay.
So before you start banging out and talking about the weekend, we're going to bring back our 2-minute terms.
Okay. Gotcha.
Do you remember the 2-minute
I love
terms?
those. Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. 2-minute terms.
So
Rodney.
2-minute terms is basically where Mike pulls up terms that are generally used in the field that we're in, and we answer them as fast as we can. Let's do it. I'm always pressure here. I don't know if I can do it.
You can do it, Rodney.
The pressure.
Yes. 2-minute terms. 20 terms. 66-second definitions. 2 minutes. Here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
Snag hook.
That's the big treble hook that you're going to cast out and grab your gator with.
You're off to a good start. Nicely done.
Cities tags are the actual tags that you tag your gator with that the state gives you that you buy for $176. Gig and snare. So basically, it's a gig, and it has a loop on it so you can snare your alligator.
All right.
Bang stick is what you complete the job with. Mine is a 357, and you pop it, right in the top of their head and in the whole thing. Harvest permit is actual your permit to actual harvest the alligator. It's a piece of paper they give you, and you get it.
All right.
Hatchling, and we all know that's a baby alligator. It could be a baby hatchling of a turtle, alligator, snake, anything of the sort. Buoyancy, that is how the gator controls itself, when he floats and sinks and
In the water, okay.
basically like a buoy. Harvest area, that is the area of which you picked to harvest your alligator. So you have to pick an alligator before you pull your temperature dependent on sex. That means the alligator sex is dependent on if it's a male or female and the temperature of the day. Gatorade. That's what you drink after you hook all the alligators. That keeps you going right there. That's a funny one. Cerebellum. That's a pretty girl down on the edge of the block. That's that part of the brain that controls that whole motion of the alligator. Osteoderm. That's that bone in their back. You see all the humps in their back? That's how they regulate temperature, through those osteoderms. Agent license. That's what I had to get this year because I did not pull tags. So I'm an agent hunting with the guys. So I had to get an agent. Palatal valve. That's a big valve. That's what keeps an alligator from drowning when he eats something that takes it underwater. It's a palatal valve. Vocalization. That's basically the alligator saying what he's got to say. And they're real vocal when they're mating season. They go, Medulla oblongata. That's the part of the brain you want to hit with the bang stick. Very hard. Make sure you got that all. The scoot is the actual name of the osteoderm is the technical name. The scoot is what it's still on the back.
Okay.
So it's the same thing. A gaff, that's what you gaff. You can use it for fishing or gator hunting. You basically gaff. Sometimes they have a gaff snare like we talked about earlier. Slide is when that alligator slides right down into the bank, right into the water. Locating line. Now that's when I spear them, they take off and they have I have a 200-foot line and it's basically called a locating. Ooh, how'd I do? Did I get it? Did I finish in time? I might have got a 99% on that one.
That's good.
That's not bad.
2-minute terms.
How'd I do?
That's a lot of stuff.
Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
The Gatorade wasn't quite solid definition, but I take it. I would have known that one.
You got to drink that once you're doing it. Oh, that's awesome, man. I love when you do these.
Yeah, no, I think it's important that just get some of those basics out there.
There's going to be a pop quiz later, so don't.
So, the oblongata, what is it?
Medulla oblongata.
That is-
We all got that. That keeps our balance.
That
That's
is my
actually
favorite.
Yeah.
And that really is where you pop them, right?
That's, man, you hit them right there in the base of the cerebellum and the front of the medulla oblongata. The brain. You hit him right in the brain. That ends the whole show.
You've got to do a song for that on your next album.
That'll be one of the old medulla oblongata.
Yep.
I love it when we get into that. That's awesome. I love those 2-minute terms. I forgot we got 6 seconds. I'm thinking I got all the time in the world.
That we do. So rewind. Okay,
so rewind. Let's go back to we hunted Tuesday, 0 success. We hooked some gators. They all busted. They all came loose. Now Friday we went back out. Every night was storms, so we kind of held it back at. We didn't. So we went out Tuesday. We skipped Thursday Wednesday, and Thursday. So we went back out Friday night. So Friday night, we hooked into. It took us a little while to find some alligators. The big alligators in Lake Cypress hang out in the middle of the lake, and we were doing some chasing and some casting. And it's sometimes you could cast dead on the money. Sometimes you're casting a little off. It's just my casting was a little off, and I missed some pretty big alligators. In the 8, 9, 10 foot range. It's just one of those things that's just you got to keep practicing. So what I like to do when I have my snag hook on is cast as far as I can, basically practice to see how far my hook goes. So once my hook goes, then I can get a distance. I can get I can cast X far and hopefully hook the gator. So I like to know how far that goes. So we get started. Took us a couple hours. We had a bad storm come in. So once the storm rolled out, we went back gator hunting, and I hooked into our first 6-footer. We just wanted to get the first one out of the way. We wanted these alligators to be meat alligators. So, we weren't if we lucked into a big one, we would have chased it. We did chase a few big ones, some 10s, maybe some 11s. But our key was just to get a couple of meat alligators. Because remember, we have 6 alligators to harvest this year. So we got the first 6-footer in the boat. We popped it. I'm gonna bust Steve out here for a second. Hey, Aunt Teresa, how are you, sweetie? I love you too. So with those bang sticks, now remember, there's no trigger on these bang sticks. So when you take your bang stick and you hit that alligator, you have to really, really hit it. I mean, you've got to jab it like you're trying to put a spear tip inside the alligator. So a couple times, Steve just wasn't hitting that alligator hard enough. He was, just giving it a slight pop, and I was like, all right, man, we're gonna need you to pop this thing, and I mean, really, really pop this thing. So we finally got a good pop on the 6-footer, and we pulled him up in the boat, got him all taped up and round up. So we had gator meat. So the pressure was off a little bit. So it was about literally not even. We got that in taped up. We got the alligator in the back of the boat. We literally, not even 8 minutes later, I hooked into a 7+. So a little over 7, between 7 and 8 foot. A real decent gator. There again, another meat gator. We were just wanting to get this thing tagged out and ended. Because once you harvest these things, one alligator is going to take you about an hour and 10, hour and 20 to get skinned out and deboned and all that good stuff. So it would be cool at midnight to harvest both alligators, and that way we could, we got about 2.5, 3 hours of cleaning, and we can get these things done in one shot. Well, Steve, Steve is left-handed, and he had the bang stick in his right hand, and it just wasn't in the right position. And then this gator just took off, man. I mean, it just drilled out and pulled the hook right out. So that was our Achilles heel that night. So we didn't hook another alligator, my gosh, till I'm going to say around 4:30 in the morning. So about 4:15, 4:30 in the morning, we hooked another alligator. We actually, we told Randy we're actually headed out. We were tired. We're going to give it another go on another night. So on our way out, we saw another alligator. So we made a couple casts on it. This time we're getting wore out. We're talking, 10 hours on our feet on this boat. And me casting that 8-ounce sinker all night with that big pole, my arms were tired. I mean, it was just, we were just getting just absolutely wore out. So, we finally, on our way out, I said, look, Randy was like, hey, Uncle Rod, there's one right there in the bushes. Do you, what do you want to do? And I said, man, let's just drive in there. Let's just pile up in those bushes and see if we can shake him out. And that's exactly what we did. Now, Randy has a deck boat. You've seen Randy's boat. He has a deck boat, and it's but we were on the deck. He's got those bright lights. So I had him flip those bright lights on, and we pushed this alligator out of the cattails, and I was able to get that hook in his neck. Like, as soon as he came out, I was able to get the hook in his neck. And by the time I got the hook in his neck, he popped up, and we were able to bang him all at the same time. I mean, it was just that quick. I mean, it was just like up, bang, pop. And that was the second one we harvested, which was probably that one was just a little over 7 feet. Right at 7 feet. So it was a good meat gator.
What are you calling his boat? What kind of boat is
It's
that?
a deck boat, so it's basically like a fiberglass pontoon boat, sort of.
Okay.
It's a lot faster, but it's not a pontoon, but it looks like a. Heather says, how many hours were you guys out there total? We were out there probably just under 12 hours. We got out there at 6, 7-ish. And we got off the water about 5, a little after 5. So just under 12 hours. 10 hours.
And if I'm not mistaken, you work the next day.
No, that one, yeah. Well, as soon as I left there, that was Friday. This was into Saturday morning.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I went and test drove a Robolo offshore boat. I had to meet the guy on the Butler chain because Robolo's up in Orlando. So I had to go from,
Cypress Lake.
Lake Cypress, hour and 20 minutes back up to my house to get a shower, get some clothes on, shoot over to the Butler chain to test drive the offshore boat, of which I was like, right on, like it, love it, let's go, So I left from there and then went and picked up my daughter, and we went to the family reunion, which by the time I got there, they were already they were just saying prayers, time to eat kind of deal. So thank God.
Wow.
I didn't drink that day, or I would have been wore out like fast.
You need every ounce of energy you can.
Oh man, I actually had a
muster.
drink as the night ended. Everybody was going home and going back to we had got a cabin out there. I'll tell you what, man. There's our gators right there. So you can see the one on the left. Actually, man, honestly, we didn't take pictures. We didn't. We had started skinning before these pictures were even taken. And I was like, man, we haven't even taken pictures of these things. I didn't get any pictures of Steve with this thing. So, Randy was able to get a few pictures, and we got a few pictures. So, I mean, these aren't giant. I think we harvested about 35, 40 pounds of meat off these two alligators.
It's not bad.
No, not bad at all. I mean, when that's what you eat, that's, man. And I know Steve absolutely loves alligator. So we tagged these two, got him tagged out right away. And, man, we were absolutely on it from that point.
How does it work with both of you working on cleaning the gator?
Basically, it's just he gets on one side, one gator. I get. These are small enough, honestly. I mean, he wasn't as picky about how much meat he got off that thing as I was, as I am. I mean, when I'm on these things, I literally I want every ounce of meat I can get off of these alligators.
Sure.
I want it all. I get on the inside and I look at the stomach contents. Here we didn't. We just basically got the bulk of the meat off of it, and tossed the rest. And
Who got the giblets?
Steve got the giblets. So actually, right there, if you look, you see that open right in his mouth right there. That's where the epiglottis. What do we say? The epiglottis.
palatal?
The palatal valve. I keep saying epiglottis. Ours is called an epiglottis. That's called a palatal valve. And you can see.
It's actually a really good shot like that.
Yeah,
You can
how
see.
open that thing is and how much. I mean, they can swallow their food whole. But here's a little trick. If you're ever attacked by an alligator, make sure your arm goes in first and you have that palatal valve open. Because if he takes you under, he will spit you out in order to close that palatal valve, or he will drown.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so they close that when they bite and take things underwater.
That's interesting.
So, it's a little self-defense mechanism. get your arm in there, wiggle it in there, real, if they're gonna get you,
Wow.
make them eat you. You know what I'm saying? Just if you want me, you're gonna have to get me whole, buddy.
You get all of me, all or nothing, buddy.
Yeah, the gator that you lost, the hook came out of the hide. Yes, actually, the hook came out of the hide. The key to hooking an alligator when you're casting that line over is try to get in, right in their neck meat. There's the very bottom of their hide is very, very tough, and the very back of their hide is very, very tough. So they've got a few areas that are real soft, and one is from the belly to the back. There's about 12 to 14 inches there on a 10-foot alligator that's nice and soft. And if you can hook anywhere in there, you're doing really good, all the way up to the jaws. Very soft. And a lot of times, when that hook comes up from the bottom and it hits them like right in the, I'm not showing you down here like you can see it. So if it hooks them in their chest plate, that real tough plate, that hook will hold them. But sometimes, that barb don't bury in, and you can fight that alligator, and the first bit of tension, the hook comes out.
Right.
So the key is, just it's hook placement with those things. Because once that hook is buried in the right place, man, they almost cannot shake this thing out. I mean, it is.
Is it also the type of thing where you want to keep tension on the line?
Yeah,
once
you
get 'em?
absolutely need to keep tension on that line. And there's going to be a time when this alligator shoots through grass and cattails and all this stuff, and
Sure.
you can't. And a lot of times, if you've got I use a 12-aught hook with 8 ounces of weight. I mean, you're casting a half a pound. I bet I made 300 casts with a half a pound. And I mean, it just got eventually 10 hours of that, and I was wore out. Setting the hook, I mean, it's just, but if they dive into those cattails, I mean, actually, they can pull that hook right out of their own skin. That hook can catch on, those cattails and just pull it right out of them.
Sure.
I mean, these things, they've been around for a million years for a reason. So, it's just all a matter of hooking them. If you hook them in that open water, man, it's 99% of the time, it's a done deal. I mean, you got this thing hands down because you can reel him all the way to the boat. He doesn't even know he's being reeled in. I mean, and then you just pop it. I mean, it's uneventful. Literally, it's uneventful. Unless you do get a big one that knows what's about to go down. Then it gets a little hairy, scary. And sometimes you don't get them on that first shot. They're you hit them in that, just behind the head a little bit. You don't get that brain on the first shot. Sometimes they just start opening and closing in their mouth, just as a defense mechanism, and you got to get in there and,
Have you ever snagged one he's gotten loose, whether it be the line breaking or he's just loosened the hook, and you've went out and got the same gator again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this happened twice over the last 20-some-odd years.
Okay.
I actually got my hook back. So I lost the hook on him, retied, cast out. It took me about an hour or two to get him back, but the key is to stay on top of that alligator.
Because I know when you lost that first big one the other night with Steve, one of your comments was, I want to go get that gator.
Yeah.
That you want to go back and get that gator. I was wondering if that was possible even.
Yeah, it is. It is. Sometimes, they're just, it's weird, man. It's just sometimes they're very vulnerable, and sometimes they are on their guard, man. I mean, over the years, forgot I had video of the first gator posted on to your part. Oh man, he's got a video of the first gator. Randy does, so maybe we'll repost it and
please, Randy.
And but what I've learned over the years, these alligators are super smart. These large ones, you hit them with your light, they know what that light is, and boop, they're down. Mm-hmm. I mean, they just go right down. Boop. Sometimes you can get within 40 yards. I mean, you got to be able to cast a half-pound hook for 40 yards, without breaking your line. So it's always a test of not, staying calm, making sure your line's not tangled.
Sure.
Because you swing an 8-ounce hook and your line has any tangle in it whatsoever, you lose your hook and you're retying, So, it's when we hunt with Randy and Nick's tags, we're going to be doing bait. So we're going to be going for some really big alligators. Toho, I've hunted Toho for, my gosh, many, 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 many years. So Toho's a great bait lake. So basically you're just putting out a piece of chicken.
See, I thought that was illegal.
No. You can't tie the bait with a hook to a bush.
Okay.
You have to have a stick, a 2-inch peg inside of the meat, and then you have to put it on something or let it float on the grass, and then you have to get off about, however far you want to get off, but that line has to be in your hand, on a pole, or tied to the boat. You can't just leave it.
Okay.
You can set the bait out.
So you couldn't put the bait onto one of the tie lines and a bucket and just leave it out there?
No.
That's illegal too.
That's illegal.
It's got to be connected to you somehow.
It's somehow or another you have to have control over that line. So, and it's a great way. If you've got a big, stubborn alligator on a good, calm lake, man, that is absolute. But you got to be patient. You got to be after one alligator, and you got to spend your whole night on that alligator.
It's a different approach, isn't it?
That's a total different approach. And I've done it. And that's how we've got our big alligators. And we've missed a ton of alligators by chasing them, some 10s, 12s, some 13s. But, when we put the baits out, we're usually successful on big alligators. But you got to be patient, man. I mean, it's a matter of Roger says, gators seem to relax around 3 a.m. Yeah, and he's right.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because, when the sun first goes down, you see a plethora of alligators, and all of a sudden you may go 2 or 3, 4 hours. These things disappear. And the later it gets, the more comfortable they get. Remember, these things are nocturnal, so they're getting motivated about that time, and you start seeing them again. So, I've taken a lot of people that have been depressed. I haven't seen an alligator all night, and I'm like, man, just be patient. This is a patience game. These gators got nothing to do but swim around. So if you're in an area, which I know where there's a couple of areas of big alligators in Toho, just set your bait out. You're gonna need some stinky bait. The stinkier the better, and what we do is we normally just take a little piece of styrofoam and let that thing, on a calm night,
let it float.
And just let it float, and we get off that thing about 100 yards. I mean, I've got 300-pound line, braided line that I set that out with.
Sure.
If you can get a boat that'll come in every once in a while, you just shine your lights, let them know you got something, and then, most people are really good about, backing off, so. And, man, they eat that chicken. I mean, they do it. They just gobble, gobble. You just let them, you've been waiting all night. Let them eat it. They're not spitting it out.
Interesting.
And that, they're not going to break that 300-pound line. So what happens is that peg that's in there, when you start pulling on it, it turns sideways. So it can't come out of that palatal valve. It gets sideways in that palatal valve. And then so you pretty much, it's a done deal. So you got them right there. So, I mean, that's the plan. We're due for another big one. It's been, a few years where we killed one over 10 foot, so we're definitely
Seems
due.
like it would be, I don't want to say a sure thing, but it seems like it'd be a lot more promising to
put your bait out?
To hunt one that way?
You know what, and here's the key is you got to be around them. When you're hunting that way, wind direction makes all the difference in the world.
That makes sense.
Because
Sure.
if you got a stinky bait, actually no wind is better because the smell just travels right along the top of that water. Sure. And gators, I mean, there's times when you'll turn your light on, you'll see 5 or 6 gators coming
They can
into
localize
this bait.
it that way, yeah.
And one of the problems is that you can get, a 6-foot gator that can come in just as easy as the 12-foot gator. When you get up there and you got that 6-footer, you just cut that line, let him process it, and move on down the road. So, if you don't, want that guy, and it doesn't hook them. It doesn't, they got to.
Because what are what's the legalities of if you catch a gator, you've got to keep him.
If you spear an alligator,
he's yours.
He's yours. If you spear a 3-foot and you put that spear in him, that's your gator. You got to harvest that alligator. If you hook him, with a snag hook, then you can, you haven't done any damage. That's a releasable alligator.
Okay.
Same way when you put that bait out with that peg. That's the reason.
That makes sense, yeah, because they'll process whatever they're going to eat.
Yeah, they're going to process. They're just going to pass it, and they may even keep it to help grind food.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just, it's those things happen. You'll get a 4-footer come in,
Sure.
and eat your chicken. You'll get a 3-footer come in and eat your chicken. So, I mean, it's just anything could come in and eat your chicken. So, make sure that you, why can't you use a tie line in Florida for alligators? It's just not legal right now. And one of the reasons is like if you put a float jug out and you lose that float jug, you have an alligator with a hook in it with a float jug out there. The state of Florida just hasn't approved those tie lines yet. Because what happens is most guys will go out and put 5 or 6 tie lines on, 5 or 6 different trees, and forget that they have, that they put 5 out. So they end up with an alligator tied to a tree that can't break 300-pound test line in most cases, die, and they get forgot about. So you got one line, you can control one line. You can put 2 lines out if you want, but you got to control those 2 lines. You can put 3 lines out 4 different directions.
Sure.
I mean, I've hunted lakes. I hunted Lake Marion down in Osceola County, way down, not Lake Marion, Polk County, but Osceola. And there was a pontoon boat in the middle of the lake, and he had 6, 8 jugs out with hooks on them with deer meat. 100% illegal. 100%. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, illegal.
Sure.
So, I went through and cut every one of them jugs loose, took the hooks off, dropped the hook to the bottom of the lake, without the deer meat on it. Took the deer meat, threw it in the grass, and then did that to every one of us, and I dared him to come. We reported it.
Yeah.
And then the pontoon hopped up and took off. So those guys are out there. I mean, they are. I mean, they're out there. And you just, you don't want to be anywhere around those guys.
Well, I've kind of rounded up some questions, and obviously we got some live chatter going, which is great. Keep the questions coming. But on our viewer mail, we've got some questions I've rounded up with some gators. So let's just keep the ball rolling and
let's do it.
Talk about some more gators.
You've got mail.
Letters. We get letters.
Remind me, Ryan asked a great question.
Whoa, yes,
So
wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Send me an email with all the details.
Another freaking email. Another freaking email song.
Mail time. Mail time. Mail time. Mail's here.
You're forced to do it now.
yes, I am.
Hey, Rodney Slater T. wants from Mobile, Alabama, says, hey, does the color of your clothes make a difference when gator hunting?
No. I mean, some people are superstitious. They wear camouflage anyway. You're hunting nighttime.
Bright white will make a difference?
Yeah, white wouldn't make a difference. I wear dark clothes because sometimes you got people behind you shining lights. Everybody has the way of doing things. I have my way. I get really mad when someone in the back of the boat turns a light on trying to show. I wish I could take all the lights off the boat and only keep one light, and that's the guy hunting the alligators. The driver of the boat needs a light, and the guy hunting needs a light. Anybody else needs to have their hand smacked every time they touch a light. So that's the way my preference would be. If I was a professional guide, there would only be one light on the boat, and that would be mine, or 2, mine and the guy hunting.
No, I've seen you give it to other people for the sake of exhibition.
Yes.
Let somebody just kind of look around.
Yes. When I have people on the boat that are not, that's never done this before, I say, here's your light.
You're not in serious hunting mode. You're just...
Exactly. Just look for eyeballs. And then when we come up to, I go, hey, turn your light off and we'll just work from here. And here's why. You get backlit. You give the gator perception. There's some things that's kind of worked for me over the years. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. You just got to do what you can.
Okay.
So yeah, clothing. I would wear dark clothing no matter what.
Okay. How about a question from David F in Ocala, Florida? Says, is there a minimum? Good question. Is there a minimum size an alligator must be before it's legal to take?
Yes, there is actually. I think, don't quote me on this because it's been a while since I looked at the minimum size because I wouldn't take the minimum size. I think it's like 12 or 14 inches, honestly.
That's a baby.
Yeah, and it go from the nose to the anal,
Okay.
So it's like 10, 12, 14 inches from the nose to the anal because it may not have a tail. So they have to go to
That's
2
interesting.
measurable, and he always got a booty. You know what I'm saying? They always got the booty. So
Rodney Rogers keeping it real.
yeah, so don't quote me on that. I know it's in that range. It used to be 9 inches years ago.
Let's put it this way: it's small enough you wouldn't want to keep.
Yeah,
it
you
anyways.
wouldn't want to kill an alligator. That small.
Okay.
Period. I think they should move that up. I mean, I don't think anybody's ever killed one that small, so I don't even. They could leave it right there.
Patricia T. Clewiston, Florida says, "Can I use recorded or electronic game calls
Absolutely.
to hunt
Yeah,
alligators?"
you sure can. Sure
You've
can.
done that, right? Even
Yeah,
with your
yeah,
iPhone.
absolutely. Yeah. You download baby alligators and give that a shot. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. I mean, I've hunted in my canoe and had them rush me so fast it just scared the living hell out of me. I mean, they come in really quick sometimes. So you have to be real careful with that.
What would be the strategy to that, rather than just finding a sound and playing it?
Well, I mean, the strategy, most, even males and female alligators respond to baby alligator calls.
Okay.
The males coming in to eat them, or curious, and the female's just rushing in because that, the very beginning of the season is the time when baby alligators are born, so they're all on their alert. So, if you have a good alligator call on your phone, the electronic call, just by all means, just yeah.
Well, I do believe when we were in the Everglades and we got that really good footage of that huge, you were using your phone at that point to
I was
at least tantalize him a little bit.
I was using the male gator.
Yeah.
And we got a
got a
rise
reaction,
out of
got a
that
reaction.
big guy.
Yeah, that was cool.
Kind of scared both of us,
That was
actually.
cool, yeah.
It was cool.
Jason S. from Waycross, Georgia says, how many different ways are there to legally catch a gator in Florida?
Yeah, there's actually several different ways. I mean, there's you can spear them, you can hook them with hook and line, you can bait them, but it has to, remember, you have to have control of all these lines.
Okay.
Spears, hooks, and and all that stuff. There's several ways. When I'm telling you, that FWC website is very, very matter of fact. So, you can. What else can you do? I mean, there's a lot of ways. Now, there's a lot of ways you can't do it, and then it's pretty much written you cannot. So if it's not one of these ways that you can bet that it's not even questionable.
Okay.
They're all, you got to be able to control this line. You have to know where it's at. So.
And the statement on there in Florida is key because Louisiana, right? Different.
Absolutely, yeah. When you're talking the Louisiana way, I mean, you're talking 100%. I mean, it's a different way of doing things there. I mean, it's you don't want to do it the Louisiana way. You can't go firing a rifle off across the lake, and you can't, there's a lot of things they do we can't do.
Okay.
So don't think that that's the way it happens. So
now, are you swinging back to a question that Ryan had?
Yeah. So Ryan said he asked me, could you use a red light? Because they do Ryan does a lot of vermin hunting, coyotes and stuff like that, and they use a lot of red lights. And yes, you can. But I'll tell you what, the red light lenses that we use here, that we put over our Q beams, because you got to have a Q beam. I mean, it's just one of those things. You got to be able to shine that alligator's eyes. If you get them within a 30-yard stretch, you can use a smaller red light, and it lights up their eyes without,
Okay.
Because here's one of the reasons. When you see a gator's eyes shine, he has a lot of cones in his eyes. So, I mean, he can see in the dark
Right.
better than most animals. So all those cones are wide open. And when you hit them with a Q-beam, it's very uncomfortable. Imagine me holding a light in your eyes at nighttime, a Q-beam. It's not, you're going to shy away. So when we hit them with those Q-beams, the key is to, hit them and then go, okay, and then get a dimmer light. You need to get a dimmer light and go from there. Work your way down. And I have a headlight that I normally carry.
Why is that, though?
Because the closer you get to them, you shine them, okay, he's right here. You tell the driver he's 12 o'clock. You put your spotlight down, and then you use a dimmer light, to where you can see him, because perception. We want to give that gator, we want to make that gator comfortable. So if I'm shining a real dim light, then he's more apt to stay up a lot longer.
Okay.
And the key is to keep him on that surface so we can get that line across him.
I gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So that is the key. Here's a question that says, can my friend or spouse ride along on the boat with me just to watch an alligator hunting? So dude, that is a huge question I get all the time. If they're not going to participate in the hunt, they do not need any license or permit. However, if they are 16 years or older and would like to help in the alligators hunt, you need to have a $52 alligator trapping agent license.
Okay.
So if you're just there to, like you would be a filming guy, you wouldn't be participating in the hunt at all, you wouldn't need an agent license. That's one of my biggest questions I get. And I will tell you this. We had the first night, Lisa's first hunt, she was in the boat. They wanted her to have an agent tag, and luckily she did. She wasn't helping at all, but they checked her for an agent tag. Now, I'm sure we did get checked by the FWC. I didn't even tell you that part. We did get checked by the FWC, and they did the whole spiel, and I was helping. So, As a matter of fact, I was on a 9+ foot alligator. Here comes this airboat. And I looked back at my nephew and I said, that better be the man. And this is the only time you'll ever hear me say that.
Gotcha.
Because he just drove literally right over the alligator we were hunting. So I hit him with my spotlight, and and sure enough, he was, it was Schuyler was the name, Officer Schuyler.
Wow.
Great job, officer. They were super nice to us. Just check, we were actually didn't have our registration for the boat, and he said, "Look, man, you got to have it when you're here." And we had our nav light that would just kept coming on and off. You had to wiggle it, so we had to secure that, and he made sure we were safe. And went through the safety channels and made sure everybody had, their proper licensing. But
well, that's great. I mean, that can actually be a positive experience.
Absolutely.
You want that exercise of
again, my 50th time dealing with an officer, game warden, and having a pleasant experience every single time. So
kind of keeps it real too.
Kind of keeps it real. Another, you got something else over there?
Keep it going, Rodney.
Okay. Do I need to have a hunter safety certificate to participate in alligator hunting? It's a good idea to have taken one to complete the hunter safety course, but it's not required law when hunting alligators. So you do not have to have your hunter safety course when hunting alligators.
Well, not only that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rodney, but I read you don't even have to have your hunter's license.
You were right, sir.
Right?
You got to have your city's tag. No, you do have to have your hunting license.
You don't have to have a fishing license.
You don't have to have a fishing license.
Am I getting this right? What am I?
This
is why I push the buttons and you run the mouth.
So in Florida, can we use a rifle or a pistol to take alligators,
Yes.
or use huge baited hooks tied to trees like they do on some of those TV shows?
All of the above.
You're going to get us in trouble. We're going to get a call. I know a guy that's going to call us out on this. Those are commercial alligator trapping methods, which we don't have here. And you may not use these methods during Florida recreational alligator hunt. Here's the fishing poles with a weighted treble hook, fishing pole with artificial lures, baited wood pegs must be 2 inches long, must be less than 2 inches long, using a fishing pole or a handheld line. You got to control it. Remember when I told you that? Hand line snatch hooks. That means you can put your snatch hook on a hand line and dig them up. Handheld catch poles, handheld snares, bang sticks. The only firearm you're allowed to use for alligator hunting is a bang stick.
Okay.
Period. So
that's always an after the fact thing, right?
Yeah. What are legal methods? Bows, crossbows, gigs, harpoons, spears, and spear guns. You can use all those. So, and the FWC absolutely 100% gives you the perfect scenario. And our old boy Tony Young is up there with a crossbow, right in the old magazine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot. I saw he does use a crossbow a lot, doesn't he?
Yes. Is there a minimum size an alligator must be for it to be legal? Are you ready for this? Must be. Most alligators try to take as big alligators as possible, but as long as the alligator measures at least 18 inches long from tip of snout. Okay, so it is tip of tail. Okay. Yeah.
18 to tip. That's
18
that's
inches.
still tiny.
Yeah.
Though.
Well, I remember years ago, reading, and don't quote me on this. My gosh, I've read so many of these books. I would never take one that small, and it was like tip of nose to anal.
Yeah.
I think
You
it said.
just like saying words.
I don't like saying it, but that was the gist of it. So, so that was So hopefully that answered some of the questions. I want to give you the right information, not just information. You done got your book out, Mike. Oh, there's your okay.
It's page 1 of the book.
Yes, it is page 1 of the book.
I printed out page 1 and ran out of ink. Thanks for making it like total
Well,
black.
I can see because that booger right there has got some color in it. I understand why you ran out of ink.
Hold that close to your face. I want people to see that. But this is a PDF. I would love to. I don't know if they have that available. Like in Walmart, you can get the hard copies of these. I don't know if they have this, but I would love to have a hard copy of that. So if you're in your little sporting goods store,
a hard copy of the book.
Yeah,
okay.
I would love to snag because that thing is packed.
Oh,
full
dude,
of
absolutely
solid, readable information.
Okay, here's a question out there. Since you film all this and use for your show, do you have to have a producer permit? No, you do not. So Mike would not have to have a permit to film or otherwise. And you know, there are permits you got to have if you obstruct traffic. Like if we were filming in the street, then we'd have to have a film permit. We went through this before.
Yeah.
And
it depends where you're at and what you're doing. In our circumstances, no, and we're blessed to that.
Yeah.
If we were certain lakes and certain places, maybe.
Yeah, but
we always check
Mike
that
is
out.
not helping in the hunt, so yeah, he's just filming. He will not need a permit. So yeah, he would not need an agent tag. So
It's very strange. The other thing is we couldn't go downtown we couldn't even go downtown Orlando and set up a tripod and lights and film without a.
that's exactly right.
Yeah, there's all kinds of.
Yeah, so there's rules. About the only place you are safe is on that lake. So Todd says, Randy, start making some rotten chicken. I'm gonna tell you this. We made some one year, and I had forgot about it. So I grabbed the chicken bucket that we were going to use for bait, and Nick and I get out on the lake, and he's got the bucket in his lap. Now, we're in a canoe. And we're going to use this. He begged me to use chicken. We're going to do chicken this year, man. Set some chicken outside. Now, I set it outside like the day before because, you know, chicken's got to thaw.
Yeah.
I figured I'd give it some thaw time, and then it's got to have time to get rank. But in the Florida sun, it don't take long to get rank. I had to shoo the buzzards off the bucket, you know, just get out of here, buzzards. I didn't, but so Nick I go, Nick, I got a lid on it. We got the bait, and he goes, have you smelled it yet? I said, no. I said, it's only been out there a day. I said, it's probably got some smell, but it probably don't have a lot of smell. Well, he popped that bucket open and right there in his face, and I mean, we couldn't use that particular bait that night because he had vomited in that bucket so much we couldn't even use the chicken. So I mean, we had to wash. Oh my God, it was just rough. So you got to be very conscious. So if you're going to hunt tonight, you want to set that chicken out about midday.
Chicken is probably the obvious one because of cost. Is there other
Well,
options?
not necessarily. You don't want beef because you want to be able to. You want that peg to come out. So you want that peg to come out of the meat. So what we do is we put that styrofoam there. We slide that peg right up under that layer of skin. So when he starts eating, he grabs it, you know, and he swallows it. And that peg comes out, and we can control that line.
I gotcha.
So I mean that's honestly the best way to handle that. I mean it is truly one of the best ways.
So, just so I'm picturing this correctly in my mind, if you've got a rope, do you still use a rope?
300. You're talking about for which part?
If I want to do a hand line.
Yes, I have a spear.
Okay.
I still
Right,
spear
you still
the
spear
old,
it.
yeah.
Steve was spearing the other night, right? Did you see him with the spear in his hand? He had
You
a spear in
did
his
for
hand.
about a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you could spear him with the rope. Can you still have the bucket tied to the other end and just kind of?
Oh yeah.
But
Yes.
now wait a minute. Baiting. I'm going to go back to the baiting.
Okay, so let's go to baiting.
So if I'm baiting it, can I have the bait with the rope tied to a bucket, but I'm holding the bucket?
Yes.
So when he takes off,
Yes.
I can let the bucket go then?
Yeah, you let the rope run out, and then now you got the jug on the end.
Okay.
And then poof, out goes the jug.
So you can still use the jug technique with the baiting technique.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Remember, as long as you control, you know, there's other, you know, you tie your small line to the jug. As long as you got some kind of, yes, like we do.
Okay.
Like we do. And I you know what? We have a setup. I think on our video, that video hunt, I think we have that set up there, don't we? Do we have the spear set up? I don't think we do, actually. Oh, no, that night we did the snag hook.
Yeah, we did it all from shore.
Yeah, so we didn't do spear. So
Yeah.
maybe we do one with the spear setup that we use, because I am the only one that uses that. I have never seen anyone else use that setup that we have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no one else does it. So, Aaron Canning, Jody, how are you? You ever hunted Lake Monroe, Lake Jessup? Yes, I hunted Lake Jessup. Actually, my time hop popped up, and I was in Lake Jessup 7 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we hunted Lake Jessup 7 years ago, and that was a very interesting hunt. We traveled 45 miles that night with my old Gator boat, the old Gator boat that we had. So,
Wow.
so that's I'm still thinking about getting another Gator
I
boat.
wonder how many tags they give on Lake Jessup.
I can tell you right now. You want to know how many they give on Lake Jessup? I had it right here.
Yeah, I was also reading there's a questionnaire. I don't know if you've ever done the form online, but the FWC has published their questionnaire on basically the process of the gator hunting. with the lottery and how the whole thing works this
Right.
year. But they've published a lot of the answers and some of the general answers they've gotten from these questions. I thought it'd be interesting next week to have we'll do the question
yeah,
for
yeah.
you, and you can answer them, and we'll see what other people are replying to how the process.
Absolutely. There's 63 tags.
Okay. Lake Jessup.
Lake Jessup, which is 126 alligators that they're going to take off of Lake Jessup.
Okay. How'd you find that so fast?
That is, I'm on the FWC website. Honestly, I just shot right over there. The lake that we're hunting is Lake Cypress. There's only 18. So it's kind of nice. I like that. We only seen 4 hunters that on that whole lake, but it's a small lake, so they cross over you quite a bit. Lake Toho, the one the one we always hunt, which we draw quite 74 on Lake Hatchenhall, which is one that we hunt, and I know we're running out of time, so let me just find Lake Toho real quick like a fish. Lake Okeechobee, Lake Topekalasha is 103.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah, they're taking 206 alligators out of there this year.
Wow.
So, and they split that up in 4, so there'll be usually 25 a night. So where we hunt, which is toward, a little closer to the lakefront, the airboats are not allowed to go.
So you hunted last week, and you're off this weekend.
We're off this week, and we'll start hunting next
Okay.
Tuesday. So we'll be back at it next Tuesday.
Okay.
So nice and fresh, and maybe we'll have you out there next Tuesday.
Maybe we'll just do it like we did last week and forego that and
Yeah.
do it live from the boat.
Yep. With your little plan there.
We got plans.
We got plans.
Got some fun plans.
Your tech plans. So if you have any questions, shoot them to us. Obviously, you see, we'll read them online. I like having Facebook up because we can read your questions. Aaron says he's watching in a hammock in the woods. That's what I'm talking. Aaron goes to our camping trip every year. Aaron, don't forget, December 2nd and 3rd, we got it this year, back to the island.
Aaron, I want a picture of you watching one of these weeks so we can put on our
Absolutely,
put on
man.
our page.
That'd be awesome. Throw us a picture. We'll throw it up there.
That's cool.
Mike, we got anything coming up other than our camp? We got a lot of news coming up as far as that goes.
We have a lot of coming up, but nothing we should probably discuss out
tonight.
loud just yet.
Gotcha. And we're done. We'll be gator hunting again next week. We'll be hunting on my nephew's tags, Randy's. Randy, get the boat ready. We're coming hunting.
Get some stinky chicken.
Get some stinky chicken. As my mama said 18,000 times, and I pray I get to say it half as much. You kids get outside and stay.